Good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Lowe with your video lesson for today. We're actually going to do two lessons today, lessons 9 and 10. So for now, what you need to make sure you have on your desk is a yellow hands-on equations board as well as your pieces. Today, you are going to need to get all of your blue pawns, which are your X's. So you want to have 8 blue pawns, and you want to have 8 white pawns. Remember, the white pawns are star. So we want to have our 8 X's, our 8 stars, and we want to have our red cubes. And away we go. Yesterday, or actually last Friday, we introduced you to star. We talked about how star can solve all kinds of problems. And we solved them exactly the same way we'd done before using hands-on equations. What I want to demonstrate for you today is the significance or the difference between these two pawns. So on your board, on the left side of your board, I would like you to put a blue pawn and a white pawn. I want 1 X and 1 star. 1 X and 1 star. Now, I want to tell you this right now. On the right side, and I don't have the number down here, but on the right side, I would like you to put a 0. Because if I were to give you 1X, or 1X, sorry, that's the blue one, and 1 star together, if I put them on the scale, and knowing that the scale is always going to be in balance, and I don't have anything over here, I have the number 0, these two together are zeros. Here's what that means. If X is 4, well, what does star have to be in order for it to equal 0? Star would have to be -4. Just like if X were 8, then star would have to be -8. Okay? Now that does not mean necessarily that star, the white pawn, is always negative. What you need to understand is that for the white pawn, it could also be a number like 6. So let's say now star is 6. Well, that makes X -6, because they always have to equal 0. So these are always going to equal this right side of my equation sign. Anytime you have a white pawn and a blue pawn together, they make a 0, because these two, this one and this one, they are opposites. They're always opposites of each other. If this were 4, this one's -4. If this were 5, this is -5. If this were 10, this would be -10. They're always opposites of each other. Okay? So are we kind of understanding what we are doing? Excellent. So if I were to have a problem on my board that said something like this, if X equals 2, then evaluate 2X plus star plus X plus star plus 5. Well, let's set it up on the board first. I want to have 2 X's plus a star plus an X plus a star plus a 5, and I need to tell you need to tell me what the other side of my balance is going to be equal to. Okay, if X is 2. So there's a couple of different ways we can do it. We can try and solve it mathematically, which we would say, okay, if this is 2 and that's a 2, this is a -2, that's a 2, this is a -2, and we do some addition. 2 plus 2 is 4, minus 2 is 2, plus 2 is 4, minus 2 is 2, 2 plus 5 would equal 7. Okay? That's one way to solve it. Plugging in the numbers, crunching it out. Another way, and this is the way that I like it, I prefer it over any of the other ones. I know that a blue pawn and a white pawn together equal 0. So if I were to do this, if I were to take these two together and pull them off, what am I really taking off of this side? I am removing 0 from this side of my equal sign. And because I'm removing 0 from this side, it still remains in balance. Yes, it's true. We would say, okay, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. This is kind of one of the exceptions to that rule. I can remove a 0 off my balance just by putting these two pawns together, because that's a 0. They're opposite of each other. They're always equal to 0. And I remove that one, and then I can take these two and remove those. Now it leaves me with a little bit easier math problem, because now all I have to do, if x is 2, 5 plus 2 is 7. That's a much easier problem to solve. So in this instance, we are removing zeros from one side of our equal sign, which is a legal move in hands-on equations. Let's try another example. Okay, oops, that's the same one. There we go. Oh, that's lesson 10. Is that the same one? I think it is. It is. So I could also do this. Let's say, evaluate, let's say if this time, and I'll just write up here, if star equals 8, or not 8, 4. Star equals 4. I want to evaluate this expression. 3 star plus x minus star plus 1. I want to evaluate that expression. And I apologize for the writing, but this is 3 star plus x minus star plus 1. So let's go ahead and set that up on our board. 3 star. 1, 2, 3. Everybody's grabbing 3 stars, putting them up on their board. Plus an x. There's my x. Now I take one of those stars away, and I add to it a 1. Now, what can we remove from my left-hand side? Remember, the rules are as follows. I can remove the same thing from both sides of my equal signs, or I can remove a 0 from one side of my equal sign. So today we're practicing with 0, so I have a white and a blue pawn. I can grab those two together, pull them off. That leaves me with star plus 1, and star is 4. That means that these two together, 4 plus 1 is 5. Outstanding. Really well done. So you guys will work on lesson 9, evaluating expressions. And all evaluating means is we want to plug in numbers. Plug in numbers. Okay? Now, let me introduce you to lesson 10. And in lesson 10, we've talked about removing zeros from one side of our equation. Okay? So in lesson 10, now I have an equation that looks like this. 3x, 1, 2, 3. Remember, my x's are blue. 3x plus a star plus an x, or equals x plus 4. So I'm going to put a 4 up here. So I have 3x plus star equals x plus 4. Well, first things first, what can I do? I can take things away from both sides very easily. I can take 1x from both sides. I can subtract 1 from both sides because I can. I have a 0 here, so I can put those two together and take off my 0. That leaves me with my answer of x equals 4. And when we go and check that, we're going to put x equals 4, but now we have star, which equals the opposite of 4. So if x is 4, star is negative 4. So we have 4 and negative 4, and this is times 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus negative 4 is the same thing as saying 12 minus 4, which is 8. And on the other side, I have 4 plus 4, which is 8. So my check is 8, check 8. Okay, let's try another example. I'll try another example because I think you guys will start to get it here the further I go. So set this one up on your board, please. 2x, so put 1x there, and then 2x. And remember, you can have the sub pause this this video lesson so you guys can take your time. Plus a star, plus an x, and on the other side I have x plus 5. So again, let's start taking away things because we know we can. I get rid of my x because I can. There's a 0. As soon as I see that now, a white and blue together, that's a 0, I just take it off. And now I have x equal 5. And if x equals 5, that means that star is the opposite of 5, which is negative 5. Okay? So I have a 5 there, I have a negative 5 here, I have a 5 here, and I have a 5 here. 2 times 5 is 10. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. 10 plus 0 is 10. And on the other side, I have 5 plus 5, which is also 10. So I have 10, check, 10. Alright, I'm going to let you guys get to work on lesson 9 and 10. Remember, in lesson 9, you're evaluating expressions, and in lesson 10, you are removing zeros from one side of your equation sign. If you need extra help, please make sure you refer back to the video. We'll say that if you don't finish the lessons today, that they are going to be for homework. So on Tuesday or tomorrow, you need to have lesson 9 and 10 done for homework. Have a great evening.